Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1968's Rosemary's Baby. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. And if you want to follow the show, you could follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Check out the new video at Kiss the Reviews. Corey makes his great acting, not debut. We've done debuts before.
Oh yeah. At this point, I'm like fucking Meryl Streep on this show.
You really are. It's chef's kiss.
Pay us more money. I don't know what she says.
We'll see. I don't know if Corey can top that during this review, but we'll certainly try.
I'm not going to shed a baby out of my womb if that's what you're anticipating.
You're not going to feign getting banged by a devil beast thing?
No, that was my first ex-wife. I've been there, done that.
Fair enough. Well, let's get
she was a pager.
Well, let's get into the cast of 1968's Rosemary's Baby. This film stars Mia Farrow as Rosemary Woodhouse, John Cassavetes as Guy Woodhouse, Ruth Gordon as Minnie Castevet, Sidney Blackmer as Roman Castevet, Maurice Evans as Hutch, and Ralph Bellamy as Dr. Sapirstein.
Obviously, this was directed by Roman Polanski. And I don't know, controversial take on this, since we're on the topic of directors now, but Woody Allen did nothing wrong.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, directors. Uncle Corey here. I don't care if your pregnant wife was murdered by the Manson family. Don't sodomize 14-year-olds.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
That's all. That's it. I mean, you will be celebrated in Hollywood. That much is clear. But
and everybody will want to work with you.
You have to live in France.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's just not for
Not for me.
Hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into Rosemary's Baby. So, a couple of things. I told you this before we started recording. I'm not really into old-timey movies, whether they be horror or drama or what. Like, it doesn't really matter. It just doesn't do it for me. What I respect about old-timey horror and whatever is they leave a lot to the imagination, and I still really like that. But it just doesn't capture me right from the beginning. There's too much build up and innuendo and just get to the thing. That's all I want.
Yeah, we'll get through it as we go through the movie, but there's a lot of points that specifically date this to the time it was made. And that's the problem. Like you could watch, obviously one of my favorite movies of all time, Casablanca. There's not a lot in that dates it. You know what I mean? Like there's not an over-the-top soundtrack that's like Glenn Miller. It's just, it's very subdued. You could set that movie in any time and just have a war going on, and Casablanca is occupied.
Yeah.
And you still have the movie. The music, the scenery, the elevators, the clothes, literally everything about this is dated to the max. And unless you can get into that mood, or you're into that kind of 60s, early 70s kind of mod style.
Yeah. No, there was, and we'll, like you said, we'll get into it, but there was a lot of like jazz trumpet muting, like the devil. Stop. Okay. I don't want to hear your Yaz flute. Okay. Just get to the thing.
her riding up and down the elevator to a groovy mix was not awesome.
Well, let's jump into this. So the movie opens, and speaking about music, the movie opens right off the bat. Creepy la-la music punctuated by what seems like a harpsichord, I think I heard in this one. So you're the lead in with the aerial view and all of that, and a lot of movies start off like that. But this either felt like you were getting into The Exorcist or Chocolat. Like that, it could go one way or the other. There was no in between with the music, the aerial shot, everything.
Yeah, this was either directed by Tobe Hooper or fucking Julie Depley.
So from that, we cut into Rosemary and Guy. They're viewing an apartment in New York City. They're planning to move into, and Rosemary wants it so bad, so they decide to rent it, even though their friend and current landlord, Hutch, tells them about the building's dark past. He also tells them about Adrian Marcato, who I guess in the late 1800s claimed to have conjured the living devil. And Rosemary and Guy are like, cool story, bro. We're moving in anyway.
Yeah, they really don't give a fuck at all. And I think this is a good lesson for the Hutches of the world.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, pretentious cocksuckers. Uncle Corey here. If you want people to listen to you and take your advice, quit being a pretentious cocksucker, because nobody wants to listen to that person. You're an asshole. Whether you mean to be or not, whether you're well-meaning or not, you're flighting. You see, this building was founded by Adrian Marcato. And like, I want you to shut the fuck up now. Get on your fucking helicopter and fly the fuck off wherever you go. I'm done with you. Smoke your pipe, asshole.
I have this thing when I hear these stories in horror movies, and it was like, oh, this building has a dark past. There's always a dark. Listen, FYI, just story time. Every building that has been there for more than 100 years has some sort of dark past and murders and witches and Satanists. And this was also the time, like the late 60s through like even the early 90s. There was this big thing about, it was on the news all the time. It was like, Satanists, are they living in your neighborhood? And it's like they have robes and, you know, little makeshift altars with skulls, and like that was a thing. So a lot of these, I'll put air quotes on horror, but a lot of these horror movies from that time kind of had that backdrop to it, which for me, honestly, love that backdrop. But
hell yeah.
In this situation, if somebody in New York City tells me that a building has a dark past, I'm like, yeah, I know. They all do. Has it been around for more than 20 years?
You were right.
They move into this apartment in this building, and one day in the laundry room, Rosemary meets Terry, who's a former dope addict who was rescued by the Castevetes. Their apartment used to be part of the Rosemary and Guy's apartment, but it's now separated by a partition, which a partition, they mention the partition. It's not partition. It's toilet paper. It's separated by like construction paper that, you know, you used to play with as a kid, like the different colored construction paper.
Yeah.
It's
pretty much.
It's so thin. You can cut a fart in the front of that apartment and hear it in the Castevet's apartment.
And I would caution anyone, if you happen to meet somebody who was addicted to something out on the streets hooking, and they're like, oh yeah, my life was going bad, but this old couple that I don't know moved me into their apartment and brought me back to life. You can be friends with the addict.
Yes.
Avoid those old people like they're the fucking plague.
Hell yes.
You know who picks up hookers and dope addicts and fucking doesn't take them to a hospital or a facility to get treatment, but brings them to their apartment? Devil worshippers do that.
And by the way, they gave me this dope little necklace that smells like baby diapers. Like,
look, we got to talk about that. Because everyone comments about the disgusting fucking smell of this necklace. And
Throughout
I
the
don't
movie.
care if the fucking genie from Aladdin is in that fucking thing. Don't wear it. It smells like shit. Which means you smell like shit.
Yes.
Here's a cool little medallion. It's got a fucking piece of mold in it. It's good luck. Cool, thanks, guy. So through the partition one night while making out, Guy and Rosemary hear like chanting. And a few days later, when they get back to their building after a night out, they see Terry dead on the sidewalk, apparently from jumping out of the window. And then the Castevets walk up and see Terry, and they seem super broken up about it.
Oh, well, this Yenta's got to go tell half the fucking neighborhood everything she did. Because this bitch can't fucking keep her blabbermouth shut. Somebody needs to clip her fucking string right now.
There's two things. One, the old people bringing in the dope addict to rescue her from the streets of New York City. That's red flag number one. Red flag number two is this bitch's voice. The minute I hear that voice, I'm like, I'm out. We can't be friends. Because every time you talk, I want to punch you in the throat.
Why not? Maybe she was.
Can I come in and talk to you for a minute? Oh my God, what happened to Terry? You were so nice you were my friend. Oh my God. You want some chocolate mouse, honey?
You fucking bitch.
So
Jesus Christ.
I got a quick don't do that for this lady.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, young couples in love that are moving into their new place, house, apartment, townhouse, doesn't matter. In this next scene, Minnie comes over, and first of all, her name's Minnie. Don't befriend Minnie, okay? That's just not a thing. Second of all, you're, I don't know, in your 20s, and you're like newly married, you're trying to have a baby. Don't befriend the couple that's almost 80 years old. That's not don't do that. And when you let them in, don't let them in, but when you do, and they start walking around and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. How much did this cost? $200 for a fucking chair? Kick them She literally walks right into the apartment and she's like, this is beautiful. What did you do here? Oh, I saw it in a magazine. Oh, cool. Okay, a little weird, but still, we're okay. She starts touching everything in the apartment. How much did this cost? How much did... What's your husband make? You said he was an actor. Get the fuck out of my house. We're done. Like, the transaction's over. There is no friendship. But do you want to come over for dinner? I'm gonna make fucking not cooked steak and fucking, I don't know, green beans and fucking matzah. Like, I don't know what the fuck they have for dinner, but she invites them for dinner. Husband doesn't want to go, but they go anyway.
Husband is kind of a piece of shit from start to finish. And I mean, obviously, we're going to discuss how big of a piece of shit he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just his general attitude overall is kind of shit. And they've made a brilliant decision by making this narcissistic control freak asshole a Broadway actor.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah. But they go to dinner. It's your typical old people home, old people dinner. The vibe is a little weird. And all of a sudden, Minnie and Roman are talking about religion and this, that, and the other.
Catholics, and they're not kissing the Pope's ass, and the Pope ain't going nowhere. A TV ain't, or some shit.
Yeah.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, dinner party hosts. Uncle Corey here. We always say don't bring up religion, but holy shit, full stop on the goddamn, the Catholic Church is a bunch of fucking freaky pedophile mother. We all know what it is. You just don't talk about this stuff at dinner parties. And you certainly, if you're not the host, start badgering somebody who is a Catholic and just goes, yeah, I don't know anymore. Oh yeah? Fuck the Pope!
Do you know priest diddle kids? Priest diddle kids. Didn't know if you knew that or not.
Breaks.
But Minnie here also gives Rosemary a necklace that Rosemary saw Terry wearing, the shitty diaper necklace. And Guy is now over hanging out with Roman in like the offshoot, like dining room, living room, whatever. And they're having drinks and Guy gets all shit-faced. And we go from that to literally like the next scene is Guy getting his big break in his career when Donald Bumgard suddenly goes blind and he gets the part that Donald beat him out for and yada yada.
And so we go back to the dinner party where Mia Farrow and Minnie are off in another room like they used to do back in the day, and the guys are in the smoking lounge having their guy chats, talking about important things over brandy and cigarettes. And Rosemary walks into the room, right? And you see Guy go, "Huh!" Picks his face up, which is one, dude, if you're a husband getting ready to do some shady shit, you need a better poker face.
He's got a horrible tell.
Dude, you're a bad husband. And I don't mean like you treat Mary poorly, because you do, but I mean more like lie better as a husband. You got to be able to just like, what? We weren't talking about fucking betraying you to the devil. It's fine. But also, this is where, Guy gets turned and really shows just how fucking big of a piece of, because it's all about, oh, you lost that part to the actor because they were discussing it at dinner.
Yep.
And literally it's like, hey man, we can cast a spell, we're witches, and we can make homeboy go blind if you give us a personal item, and we can make all your dreams come true. Kind of all we want is Rosemary's womb. And he's like, dope, I'm in.
You like, mean I'll get to be in movies?
The next day, he fucking steals Baumgartner's tie off, and we find out later, and that's how they blind him. Like the next day. It took you 24 hours to reconcile in your mind that the devil was going to rape your wife and impregnate her.
And you were like...
And you're like, yeah, but do I get the part in the show?
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
So he starts diving into his new role and yada, yada. He feels bad. So he decides to have this romantic evening with Rosemary. And, I'm ready to make a baby because I've been neglecting you. And you obviously need somebody to take up your time because it ain't going to be me. And during said romantic evening, Minnie comes over to drop off some chocolate mouse for the couple to try. Rosemary eats a little bit of it. She complains about the chalky undertaste, and he's like, pshaw, you have a horrible palate, or, whatever.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, everyone in the world. Uncle Corey here. If something doesn't taste right, you're being drugged. Period. It's not bad. It's not your palate. You didn't fucking burn your tongue. You didn't bite your cheek. You are being drugged.
Yes.
Stop eating it.
Yes.
Fucking period. The amount of ex-wives that have tried to poison me, and I've just been like, nah, bitch, this tastes fucking weird.
This tastes like metal. I don't like it.
No, Darwin would call that survival of the fittest, homie.
Well, and she might only have a couple of spoonfuls, right? Mm-hmm. At this little thing. And she's like, well, I'm going to dump this into my fucking napkin because this is gross. But she becomes so dizzy. He chalks it up to the booze. Okay, quick thing. If somebody's like, it must have been all that booze you drank. Unless, and I know she's probably 95 pounds in this movie, but unless she had 10 stiff drinks, you're not falling around like that after a couple of glasses of fucking Pinot in front of the goddamn fireplace. That's just not happening.
No. And he's even when this is all happening, right? So this is the mother of the newborn Antichrist. Yes. The devil's prize. Chose her of all the women in the world, they say.
Yeah.
And her husband is treating, you chose to be a cuck in this situation. Why are you getting pissy with her? This was your choice. She had no decision in this. You pimped your wife out to the devil, and you're like, you're a fucking whore. You made her a whore. Quit being a dick. He's so mean to her throughout this movie.
Oh, 100%. And he puts her to bed. She passes out and has this weird fever dream about being on the yacht with the Kennedys and carried through the Sistine Chapel, and then on a bed surrounded by old naked people chanting, and apparently Abraham Lincoln's there for a second or two. And it finally ends as she's tied down as this devil beast thing rapes her in front of the Pope.
The way they intertwine kind of the exposition through this is really nice. Because while she's being shraped, you have them talking about, is she going to remember all this? And they're like, no, not as long as she ate the chocolate mouse. Which she still calls it, as long as she ate the mouse, she's fine. It's a ruse. You're not stupid. You know it's called moose.
She's committing to the role.
She really is. Like, you're with friends. You're in the agency. You're no longer undercover. You can let the axe drop.
Yes.
But she says, as long as she ate the mouse, she won't remember anything. She won't feel a thing. It'll just be a dream. And obviously she didn't, which is why she realizes it's not a dream. This is really happening.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't seen it, I suggest watching the Jonah Hill shraping in This Is the End.
Yes.
Because it pretty much follows this almost like minute by minute, and it's fantastic. Jonah Hill does a fantastic job playing Rosemary.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
If you have to include shrape in your movie, this is about as tame of a shraping as can happen, especially when it's being done by the devil.
Yes.
And this is how I would suggest, just do this. Just do it this way. Like the violence from, what was it, Showgirls?
Yeah.
And shit. We all know rape is violent now. We've seen enough. I Spit on Your Grave has been remade like 300 times. If you want to see it, you can see it. This is the way to do it.
Well, and that's why I said,
as far as the shraping goes, this was somewhat tolerable to watch.
But she wakes up the next day and she tells Guy about the weird dream. And Guy says that he had sex with her while she was passed out. And Rosemary's pissed. But when she visits Dr. Hill, he tells her that she's pregnant and all is forgiven. And I got a quick don't do that for everybody out there.
Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Hi, guys or girls or whatever. If your significant other is sleeping or passed out, and I know it doesn't happen, she gets shraped by the devil here, but I just thought I'd throw this piece of advice out. If you've submitted your significant other to get shraped by the devil, and then she's like, hey, I felt like I got shraped last night in my dreams. Don't come up with the lie that like, oh no, you just passed out and I banged you. That's not a thing. Come up with another lie like, that dream was fucked up, huh? You could literally have sex, like actual sex with your spouse the next day and then go, hey, you're pregnant from that sexing, not the shraping that I gave you because you were passed out and I just stuck it in for a minute. Like, this is the worst. And this kind of goes back to him just being a piece of shit. And I think it also goes back to it being in the movie 1966. And it was like, yeah, you fell asleep, see? And I just put my Peter inside you and did my thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, considering he makes like almost literally every decision for her.
Yes.
I don't think spousal rape was really a thing.
No.
Back then?
Well, it was a thing. It existed.
Oh, it existed. But that wasn't a term.
No, not at all.
No, that wasn't a law. It was just like, well, you're his wife. You're supposed to bend over and take it.
Yeah.
That's what a good wife does. You're going to get a baby out of it now.
She just says something like, cool, can we just not let that happen again? All right. Do you want raw steak for dinner? Sweet. Let's move on with our day.
Hell yes.
But
she has TikTok now. So she's watching that video of those fucking muscle guys just slamming fucking raw hamburger in their face like morons.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the steroids.
She's like,
they take.
Rogan told me to get buff this way.
I take Alpha Brain and eat raw fucking goat testicles. The Castevetes hear the news. Rosemary and Guy tell them, and they say, oh, you got to go to Dr. Sapirstein. He's the best obstetrician in New York City. He handles all the upper class people and none of the poors. And so she goes to see him, and she takes his weird advice, the weird vitamin drinks that are made by Minnie. And again, quick don't do that for you.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, pregnant ladies that go to see a doctor in a doctor's office, a professional who has a degree on the wall and shit. If he says, I know it's 66, no need for vitamins. You could take this vitamin drink. Cool, bro. Do you got a packet I could put into a thing of water? No, I know your neighbor. She's gonna make it. Just say no to all of that bullshit. And the minute she gives it to you, go, this is good, like she does a little bit later in the movie, and just dump it in the fucking sink. And guess what? If the old bitch got a problem with it, punch her in the throat, because she's 79 years old. You could literally just push her down, she breaks a hip, and this fucking movie's over.
Hell yes.
The only thing I wish they would have done is let us know what was actually in the fight milk that she's drinking.
Well, it was the baby diaper mold and some other stuff. It looked like she was drinking ranch dressing. That's what it looked like.
It was protein.
It was
somebody ground up a crow and put it in milk and then served it to her.
I drink it every morning so I can fight like a crow.
And again, I don't know if this is a product of the time or what, but this is one of those moments where, to me, this wouldn't stand up to the test of time, simply from the standpoint that women aren't told what to do like this anymore. And if they are, you're kind of greeted with like a go fuck yourself. Well, I ain't fucking doing that. So like Minnie shoving fucking milkshakes in her face, she'd be like, bitch, get your motherfucking milkshake out of my fucking face.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you need to stop. And like, hey, I don't want you on any pills. Cool. I want fucking pills, asshole. Yes. Like, this isn't the 1800s. There's no reason for me to die in childbirth.
Yeah, I'll go to Walgreens and just buy some vitamins and take them behind your back, fucking loser. So she starts to develop these pains. She's pregnant and losing weight. And they're like, that's normal for the first little part of your pregnancy. And it's like, no, it's not. And that's never been a thing. But
literally everybody is telling her that. And she's like, yeah, but my doctor is so good. Your doctor also looks like Sigmund Freud. So if he was alive in like 1895, cool. Then that tracks with his train of thought here. Yeah. But also, literally everyone is going, Jesus Christ, you look terrible.
Well, let's face facts here. The minute you go to your doctor and you're like, hey, I'm having these pains, they won't go away. And he's like, all right, well, I'll try to give you this and blah, blah, blah. Nobody's worried about it. But he's not worried about the pains or her losing weight in like the first trimester. But the doctor yells at her for reading books.
I thought you weren't going to read books, Rosemary.
It was staring at me in the drugstore.
And all it did was worry you. Will you go home and throw it away, please?
First of all, let's settle the fuck down, okay? Stop yelling at me for reading, okay? Because I am literate. I went to school.
What are you, a parent in 2023?
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, partners, spouses, husbands. Uncle Corey here. Never, ever, 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 ever in a million years, when your partner walks in with a new haircut, go, what the fuck did you do?
What's that?
I've been to Vidal Sassoon.
Don't tell me you paid for that.
He's so unnecessarily mean. Just don't ever do, even if it's a bad cut, and they know it's they always know when they got a bad hairstyle coming into the house. So even if it is, and they're like, oh, what do you think? You go, I think you make it work. Like, I don't think a lot of other ladies could make that work, but you could.
Yep.
That's what you fucking say. You
and
psycho.
if they don't like it, your next response should be like, "Listen, it's hair; it'll grow out." Now you're supportive.
There you go. Eat some more raw liver. It helps your hair grow.
Hutch then stops by. Hutch is super concerned. He seems to be the only one. So he's super concerned, and then he's like, "I'm really concerned about you. Those milkshakes, that's bullshit. Like, you should be taking pills or vitamins or some shit." And just blows pipe smoke into her face.
He's not facing her when he lights it. And then he takes the first puff and he turns and blows it in her face. Like, are you trying to give her a contact high? Do you not think that's going to hurt the baby? You fucking morons.
That's what I do love about these older movies, because it's just like, you're pregnant, congratulations.
Every pregnant lady needs a lucky strike to relieve the stress.
So Hutch here calls Rosemary. He tells her to meet him for a talk the next day, and guy gets pissed and removes the phone from their bedroom. And the next day she goes to meet Hutch. He doesn't show. When she calls him, she finds out from one of his friends that he went into a coma that morning, and then he dies later in the movie.
This is another reason this would not hold up today, because when Roman and Hutch are speaking to each other, Roman says, "Oh, it's tannis. Tannis root inside the necklace. That's kind of why it stinks a little bit." And he goes, "Tannis? I'll have to check my encyclopedia when I get home." If I was like, "Yo, it's tannis root, bro," you'd be like, "Oh, for real?" And you pull out your fucking phone and you would look up what the fuck is tannis root. And you'd be like, "Hey, this is some witchy shit."
And the first sentence would be like, "This is referred to as like the devil's lettuce," or whatever they call it,
exactly.
in witchy poo world, or whatever the fuck. And I'd be like, "Yeah, not a thing. That's fucking weird.
Get out of my house, witch.
Hey, Rosemary.
Weird old witch.
Rosemary, we need you to fuck out of here, okay? We're going to take you to like a fucking woman's shelter or something. You can stay with me, but this dude's fucked up." But
yeah, by the way, why did you ever trust the old dude in the Steve Harvey suits to begin with?
Rosemary decides to throw a party. She has all of their young friends, no old people allowed. And obviously everybody's like, "God damn, you look like shit." And after the party, Rosemary tells Guy that, her friends are like, "Hey, Sapirstein's a fucking lunatic. You need to go get a second opinion. Go back to Dr. Hill, yada, yada." They fight about it, and her pain goes away. She could feel the baby kicking. And again, everything's forgiven. Baby's kicking. We're good. Fight didn't exist. I'll go see fucking Dr. Lunatic Witch fucking tomorrow. And he'll give me more fucking weird goddamn herbs and spices to fucking take down for this pregnancy. She then gets a book from Hutch's friend Grace, which Hutch was gonna give Rosemary when they were set to meet. And Grace tells her that the name is an anagram. That's what Hutch wanted her to tell Rosemary. And the book is the study on witchcraft and Adrian Marcato and his son Stephen. And Rosemary uses her Scrabble tiles to realize that Roman Castevet is an anagram for Stephen Marcato.
Scrabble will always save the day.
Fuck yes, it will. I didn't realize Scrabble was that old.
Neither did I.
So,
thanks, Alfred Butts.
You learn something new every day. She now realizes that Roman and Minnie and all their geriatric, Crip gang friends are all witches, and they're, she tells Guy, and Guy laughs it off. Rosemary tells him they're not invited to the house anymore. They need to sublet and move out. She has the perfect reaction when you find out your neighbors are worshiping anything to this level, basically.
Oh, yeah. I don't care if it's a fucking... First off, you should have known something was wrong when you moved into the building and everyone was white. All of one thing is bad.
Especially in New York City.
You were right.
If you're in New York City and you go through every floor of your building and everybody's white, there's probably something going on in that building, and just find a new building. After this, she tells Sapirstein that she doesn't want anything to do with the Castevets, and He tells her that Roman is dying anyway, and he wants to visit some places before he dies. So they leave, and Guy and Rosemary send them off. And this kind of just gets towards the very end of this, the culmination of the movie. And this is where she finds out that, you know, witches use personal items. Hutch's glove was missing. She calls the guy that went blind at the beginning, the Donald character. He admits that he swapped ties with Guy. So now she starts putting the pieces together. She packs her shit and goes to see Sapirstein, but his secretary makes some like offhanded comment about the Tanis route. She realizes that Sapirstein's a witch too. So she bounces, calls Dr. Hill, goes to see him, and he's like, I totally believe everything you're saying. Why don't you lay down and take a nap? The minute somebody tells you to lay down and take a nap, like, relax, I got this, just all hands on deck. Just bounce. Do the shit by yourself.
You were correct.
If you believe that there is a massive conspiracy out to steal your baby by a witch coven, possibly stop telling everyone you meet that there's a witch coven trying to steal your baby.
Yes.
That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
You
Hey,
can
doctor,
lie.
who has no idea what's been happening this entire time, I am going to come into you frantic, looking like shit.
Yeah.
And like I'm going through a manic episode, and I'm going to throw books at you that talk about witches and personal items and making people go blind and falling into comas, because that doesn't happen unless spells are put on them.
Yes.
I mean, this is fucking insane. And
No,
even
it
like
really
you're like,
is.
oh my God, I can't believe he would call Sapirstein and like her husband to come and get her. I would too. It's
Yeah.
either that or I'm committing her.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Dude, this chick is having a fucking breakdown. She needs your help. You're her doctor. Come and fucking help her. By the way, she has a husband. Bring your fucking husband.
Dr. Hill has Sapirstein and Guy come and take her. They take her back to the building. She gives them the old, I drop my money on the floor routine, and she gets on the elevator, gets to the apartment, locks them out. And before she can actually call for help, Guy and the other geriatrics appear in the apartment. Rosemary tries to fight them, but she goes into labor. They force her down. They give her the sedative. And when she wakes up, they tell her, Guy tells her, it's a boy, it's fine, yada, yada. And then they later come back and say, oh, sorry, your baby dead. And she freaks out, doesn't believe them. And then she starts hearing like the baby cry in the apartment. And again, this goes back to like all of the bad lies and misdirection from her husband. He's an actor, and he's a horrible liar, which tells me everything I need to know about his acting skills.
Yes, I needed the devil to get him parts.
Exactly. Because she's like, I hear a baby crying. Oh yeah, the people on 7 or the people on 8 have a baby. That's good ears on you. Good ears. Yeah. Coincidence, huh?
What a coincidence.
Some new people moved on in up at 8.
Do they have a baby?
How'd you know that?
This is where the movie, to me, drug the fuck out. Like, it's a long movie anyway.
Yeah, from here to the end, yeah.
But they keep the setup and the anticipation growing well enough where you start to see more of these characters revealing who they really are. You see her slowly catching on. Totally good with all of that right up until the reveal. And then just this whole thing with the constant drugging and hiding the pills and the cat and mouse. Is it a baby? Oh, no, it's a baby upstairs. But I don't think it is. It's, we know what's happening as the audience.
Yes.
Move us the fuck along.
Yes.
Please.
And I will. Because after the cat and mouse and the drugging and the yada yada, she finds the little hidden door in the closet or whatever between the two apartments. She goes in and she sees like the witches coven having like, I don't know, whiskey and cigars, celebrating the newborn baby that's got like the black I will say this, the black bassinet, the upside down cross, that looked dope as fuck. Like
it's
that
nice
was
touch.
cool. It is a nice touch. It was really cool. I don't know how they would have done this in the 60s. And this is what I mean about leaving everything to the imagination. This is the reveal. that her baby has hooves and he's the devil's lettuce child or whatever the fuck. She sees it. They have the close up on her as she sees it. And she's like, oh, gasp. He's got goat ears and hooves and shit. And then this is where they're like, well, you know, sorry, when we drugged you, the devil did some stuff. And then like now you got the hoof baby over there.
Yeah.
And you should be grateful that you're the mother of the fucking devil or whatever the fuck. The movie ends after she spits in Guy's face because he's like, I'm an actor.
That was great.
That is a good scene because he's trying to explain the whole thing. And it's like, hey, we'll get everything we want. Well, I'll get everything I want. You just kind of get to live and take care of fucking hoof baby over there. Yeah. And, you know, we'll move to California and get a big mansion and I'll get in movies and stuff. And she's like, the devil fucked me. Like, were you not there for that? Pretty sure you were there for that. It was such a good scene.
Yeah, she's about to come up with a new word in the 60s spelled DIVORCE. Because she's done.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what I would have done if I were Rosemary also. One, I would have played the mom role like she does at the end, right? Yeah. Sing a little lullaby, and I'm in it. It's my baby. But being the mother of the Antichrist, having the devil choose me to be his carrier, I would think would come with some perks. And those perks would be like,
a few.
I'm calling Pinhead and the Cenobites, and I'm going to watch them tear Guy apart.
Yes.
Limb from limb. Then that fucking fat bitch with the glasses that stuck her tongue out at me, I'm going to have her tongue pulled out all the way. I'm going to start laying down some laws about who the fuck is in charge of this motherfucking situation now.
Oh, 100%.
Minnie, I'm sewing Minnie's mouth shut.
I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to remove her vocal cords. So the shit moves and nothing fucking comes out. I like your take on it because listen, you got lemons. Let's make some lemonade.
That's it. You have to.
You were correct.
This is a weird ending because again, in today's society, right? Everything is hyper politicized and you could honestly see this like, look, even she cared for a rape baby, bad abortion. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many weird angles on this fucking movie where it is oddly complex by today's standards. And that's also, again, why I say, I don't know if you could make this movie today. Because there's a lot of things you could do with today's technology. You could show hoof baby. You could have it more bloody with her just like cutting up the Satanists in the party and like Roman's like, yes, this is the sacrifice. Now it's all coming true. You know what I mean? Like all of this different shit you could do to make it more palatable. But at the end of the day, she's kind of carried to term and taking care of a rape baby. And that's probably not going to play well. Guy being so controlling and her having no voice whatsoever would not play well. The music that wasn't scary music, but like you said, the jazzy, we don't need that. Yeah, it's not necessary, and it takes away from the situations Rosemary is in.
Yeah,
horror movie soundtracks through the 60s and 70s were fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And so you don't need this kind of Breakfast at Tiffany's kind of angle to it. It was
like it was like Dizzy Gillespie music and you're about to get like murdered or something's about to happen. So I didn't like that. Like I don't need that in my chase scene. Like this is more art house type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to play jazz music during the big murder deal. And it's like, I don't want to get jazzed up for this. Like, give me some minor chords, dark undertones, because that's what's going on. Put me in that situation. Like, that's what I love about horror movies. And even around that time, true horror movies did that. To this day, they do that. So yeah, I didn't like that. I don't think it holds up. I do, however, think you could remake this because it's such a classic, and I'll just use air quotes because it's not for me. Because this is such a classic, I don't know that you could remake it, but I think you could remake it. I think it would play well because politicized, yes, it would be. My brain went there during this. I actually thought that. Because again, we're watching it in 2023. So I was like, and I thought the same thing. Oh, she carried the Shrate baby to term. So I know there'd be people in the crowd like, yeah, you go, girl, or whatever the fuck they do. But I still think you could do it. And as politicized as it would be, it would just make it more popular because everybody would want to see it. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't hold up for a lot of reasons. Obviously the fact that this was a fucking Roman Polanski joint is a turnoff for me immediately. As brilliant as everybody thinks he is. Yeah, not for me. I obviously love Mia Farrow. I love some of the actors in this. They're good actors, especially for that time period. I just don't, for me, I hate to circle back and go, I don't like old timey movies, but I don't like old timey movies. It just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, it's severely dated. I will say this, it is a masterclass in psychological thrillers.
Absolutely.
And that's not even giving praise to Roman Polanski because it's based off a fucking book. So my suggestion would be read the book because the book is phenomenal. It is really, really good. And like you said, it's dated and it's just too long.
Yes.
If you cut this to an hour and a half, which you could do very easily. I could make cuts to this movie right now, cut it down to an hour and a half, and it improves simply because you're cutting out so many of the lulls. You're cutting out so much of the exposition that we as the audience already know.
Yeah, there's a lot of fat on it. That's it.
Yeah.
But
you need, if you wanted to do this today, you'd probably have like an M. Night Shyamalan do it. Simply because there is a twist at the end, but his twists are always so fucking fast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I see dead people. Oh, Bruce Willis, you're dead. See this bloody shirt on your back and nobody can see you? You're fucking dead too. That's why I'm the only one talking to you through. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Done. You're done.
Yeah.
There's not 17 years worth of exposition provided by Haley Joel Osment in that scene. So
yeah.
I think it could be remade. I think it could be redone. It is a classic. I won't shit on it from that aspect. The actors all do a fantastic job, but again, for me, yeah, it's just too dated.
Yeah. No, same. You got anything else for this one? I'm good.
I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go and pregnate my next Antichrist.
Well,
I don't even know what that means.
Well, good luck with that, I guess.
Thanks.
So let us know what you guys think of Rosemary's Baby. But for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1968's Rosemary's Baby.